So here it is. I mean, this thing is huge. The box is actually pretty heavy considering the monitor only weighs like 22 pounds with the stand and like 15 pounds without it. However, this is the newest Alienware 34-inch curved QD OLED gaming monitor. I've waited 3 whole months for this bad boy since it's back ordered, but it's finally here. Let me just put this down. Oh God, it's so big. Oh. Okay. I know what you're thinking. Chris, why would you get a new monitor? Your current setup is sexy. Well, I'm just joking. My old TV is pretty old, and back then I used my computer or my TV monitor for everything as it was my main TV. However, now I have an actual TV, so my PC has been more for leisure watching as well as gaming. I realized that I'm getting older, which means midlife crisis. I thought it would be best to soup up my setup with some RGB nano leaves, a new monitor, the sweet GOVEE G1 PRO RGB light, my new mechanical keyboard, and my Logitech G Pro super light. Now the real reason why I bought this monitor is because it's the first monitor to feature the new Samsung QD OLEDs. Now if you didn't know, LG has been dominating the TV market with their OLED TVs due to the fast response time, accurate colors, deep blacks. I mean, I love my LG OLED TV so much. And I always wanted a monitor with OLEDs. However, the biggest issue with OLEDs has been burn-in. If you don't know what burn-in means, it essentially means if you have a static image on the screen for an extended period of time, that image can stay burned in to the screen. And it's especially noticeable when you see any type of dark environment. Samsung invented their own version of OLEDs with the QLED TVs, which are actually brighter than the OLEDs, but the colors weren't as good as the OLEDs. Enter the QD or Quantum Dot OLEDs. What's crazy about QD OLEDs is that they were able to combine the best of both worlds. They combine amazing picture quality and super deep blacks of the OLEDs and the brightness of their QLEDs, giving you this amazing picture quality. Now, real quick, I'm not a scientific expert like HD TV test with crazy cameras, so if you want all that scientific explanation behind that, check out his channel. For me, this is a video for an average person to see if it's worth getting this $1,300 monitor. So first, let's talk specs. It's a curved monitor. Curved means immersive for the person viewing it directly from the front. You can also view videos at any angle without much loss in viewing degradation. The display is a 21:9 ultrawide with a resolution of 3440 by 1440, which is still 4K, but due to the wideness of it, the ratio is different. I also love how thin the bezels are. Another thing to keep in mind is the refresh rate and color. While the monitor supports 175 refresh rate, it maxes out at 8-bit color. But 144 Hz and below can go up to 10-bit color. Now for me, it's not a big deal as I use this for gaming and general use. However, if you're a content creator and want to do heavy color grading and editing, you may have to switch your refresh rate to get that 10-bit color. But again, it's not the biggest deal and you won't even notice the difference. Now, although I would love to have an expensive brand new monitor with a 240 Hz refresh rate, 175 to 240 Hz isn't a crazy difference. However, if you do have a 240 Hz monitor, you will probably tell a slight difference. Honestly, 175 Hz is so smooth and makes gaming so much more fun. I do want to say my graphics card is somewhat old. I'm rocking a GTX 2080 Ti. However, it can still handle everything I throw at it just fine, and I haven't noticed any flickering. If you do, you can also easily lower your refresh rate. Another thing, make sure to use a DisplayPort, not an HDMI port, as it can't handle the higher refresh rate. You'll also find 2 USB 3.0 ports on the bottom, as well as 2 more in the back. A few people have been complaining of a fan noise coming from the back of the monitor. However, after playing games in 80-degree weather in my loft for a few hours, I barely heard the fan. But the monitor does get hot in the back. This thing is amazing after using it for about 2 weeks so far. My monitor is in my loft, so there's a ton of natural light. I honestly thought it would be an issue with glare. However, I haven't had any major glare issues unless the screen is super dark or it's off. But the QD OLEDs do a great job at keeping the screen super bright, so when the screen is on, I haven't had any glare. Overall, the look of the Alienware is solid, but the stand it comes with is bulky AF. If you have a massively long desk, then go for it. But for me, I wanted more flexibility and opted for a swivel monitor mount. It's completely compatible with the VESA 100x100, with no issues, even though it's a curved monitor. You also get LED lights in the back of the monitor that is customizable, or you can just turn it off if you want. I'm all about the RGB, so I added more RGB with my GOVEE G1 PRO. It's actually not made for a monitor this size, however, I made it work. The LED strips fit well in the back, and the camera mounts perfectly enough to see the middle portion of the screen. With this and the monitor, it's a game changer. I can finally call myself a gamer with my Logitech G Pro Superlight, my custom mechanical keyboard, my curved monitor, and all my RGB lighting. As this is my first ultra-wide monitor, I wasn't used to the super wide format with videos and games. Watching YouTube videos, you get these black bars on the sides of the video. However, there's a Google Chrome extension called Ultrawide that removes them, but the video is also slightly stretched. This also applies to watching any movies. As beautiful as it is, nobody wants to watch a movie in a rectangle. However, if you crop the video, in my case, 2.35 by 1 or the widescreen movie theater format, it actually looks pretty good. It all depends on the type of movie, as this can make the images look stretched out and fat. However, the blacks are actually black, the colors are amazing, and I understand all the reviews. With certain games, you may have to change the aspect ratio so the viewing isn't stretched out. However, if you do decide to use the native resolution, be prepared for distorted images. For me, I like a little stretch when I play FPS games because I like to see them better. They're a little more wider, so I mean, it's all personal preference, but that's what I like. So I see how stretched out she is, but if you compare it to the native resolution, it looks better for sure, but she's more narrow and skinny. Native resolution, and then we're going to switch it to 16.9, and it looks stretched out, but everything's bigger. However, overall, it's not like a big difference. If you do ever want a monitor that you'll also use as a TV, consider other options. Before this, I was highly considering the 42-inch LG C1 OLED. With clear type text, you have the ability to find the most clear and black text possible. However, with some text, I did notice some fringing. However, it isn't enough to be a big deal. So one thing with LEDs to be on the lookout for are bright and dead pixels. According to their warranty, in order to qualify for a replacement monitor, you need to have at least 6 dead pixels or 1 bright pixel. I just got my monitor, and with the pixel test, I already have 1 dead pixel. It's not noticeable, and I'm not even sure if you can see it in the video. It's at the tip of the mouse. However, it sucks paying this much for a monitor and it's not perfect. Overall, however, it hasn't affected my viewing at all. Now let's talk about settings you may need to change on your PC when using this monitor. First off, make sure you actually have the 175 refresh rate enabled in the NVIDIA control panel. Also, usually HDR and Windows shouldn't always be enabled, as it limits a lot of settings on the monitor. Only when you're watching HDR content or playing HDR games should it be on. You can quickly enable it with the X bar game bar with Windows, which is Windows, Alt, and B. So as you can see, the display is still a little dark, so you're gonna go ahead and turn on HDR. So now HDR is on, and it makes everything so much more clear and crisp. So whenever you're watching HDR content, you wanna go ahead and switch that on. So as you can see, HDR is on and everything is just way more brighter. However, it can wash out a lot of the color, so don't turn it on all the time. Other things to change is a Dell color profile that's automatically installed when you plug the monitor in. Depending on the application, it can change the color profile, so I recommend turning it off. Just type in color management and click on use my settings for this device and remove the Dell profile. Other settings to change is in the NVIDIA control panel. Go to change desktop color settings. Override to reference mode, as some people are reporting the blacks not being completely black if you do not tick this. Next, on the bottom of the screen, you have a joystick to access all the menu functions. On the right, you also have the power button to turn the monitor on or off. Now, there's a ton of features and settings to tweak the monitor to your liking. They have a quick shortcuts menu and a more advanced menu. I found what worked for me was putting the monitor in creator mode, so I have more color customization options. I set my color space to sRGB, and I set my gamma to 2.4. In my bright room, the monitor looked a little too dark, so I raised the brightness to about 80%. I also kept my HDR mode to HDR Peak 1000. We also have things like Game Enhance mode that allows you to display a timer or frame rate. There's actually Dark Stabilizer mode, which actually increases your dark level, so it's easier to see if you're in a dark area. But make sure you keep this off for true blacks. There's no built-in speaker, but there's an audio section, so I'm not sure what that's about. You can also turn on the ambient light sensor. I keep mine off since it makes the display super dark in low light, as well as eco mode, which turns the monitor off when the PC is off. And even though this is a QD OLED, it's still an OLED, so there are features that help reduce the risk of burn-in. Although if you do get the monitor from Dell, they offer a 3-year burn-in warranty, which is awesome. There's a pixel refresh and panel refresh that all run automatically. The reviews don't lie for this monitor. It's my favorite monitor ever. I mean, I can't believe I was using a TV with a 60 Hz refresh rate playing all my video games and all that stuff. Overall, for daily activities, watching movies and videos, I believe it's worth the cost. Especially because it's the newest technology with QD OLEDs. It's actually at a very reasonable price. Thanks for watching, guys. This monitor has been back ordered for at least 3 months, so if you're considering it, put in the order on the Dell website now.